A better film than one might expect, or perhaps as good as a Japanese kaiju film can get. The production values on 1995's Gamera Guardian of the Universe are phenomenal. Well, extremely considered. Definitely inspired by the boost in, I guess, seriousness that which the Godzilla films of what we call the Heisei period, how much more considered and careful they were of these films, treating them, making films for Godzilla fans essentially. And so the Gamera films, which were always considered a bit of a joke, they're MST3K fair in a way that the Godzilla films aren't even. Maybe a few of them were, like versus Hedorah versus Megalon, some of the kind of later 70s Godzilla films. But I think all of the original Gamera films would have been on MST3K at some point. And Shusuke Kaneko chose to redeem this character and create, honestly, one of my favorite film trilogies of all time. It's a fantastic watch. If you're remotely into kaiju, I was going to say you will love these films. You already absolutely love these films, I assume. I've always been fascinated and drawn to the kaiju mythos, the Godzilla franchise, as well as this Gamera IP in its strange and distinct forms over the decades. I think what really drew me into these films initially would have been the Cinemassacre discussions of these films. And then I recall there was this fantastic DeviantArt user named Kaiju Samurai, and his artwork was phenomenal. This is a phenomenal justification for fan art if I've ever encountered any. And I do like the idea of fan art in general, just to be clear. I think it's needlessly maligned to some extent. Anyway, just these. I love monster designs in general. It just, the creation of imaginary beings. I really like the idea of speculative evolution. I've been reading about that lately. Dougal Dixon and some of his mates. I think it's such an interesting. The creation of imaginary beings is so fascinating to me, and especially in this kaiju context, I think it's very brilliant where these monsters become the absolute focus of the feature, but they also and there's the Gamera films of the 90s try to do this. What if it was real? How would we respond to it? But as an attempt to configure a reality that can correspond to the emergence of Gamera, and in this case the Gauss pterodactyl-like creatures as well in this film. I recall obviously we know the 2014 Gareth Edwards Godzilla, which I admire quite a bit actually, as I stated before, was an attempt to realise that possibility as well. What if Godzilla did appear in reality? What might the response be? That crappy King Ghidorah sequel was crap, as we all know. The Michael Dougherty picture. Really like the Adam Wingard film that they followed it up with. Would love to talk about that one day. But we also need to talk about Hideaki Anno's Shin Gojira, which was probably the most apt attempt yet to configure the Godzilla actually arrives in reality. What do they do about him? It was a strong film from 2016. I would almost recommend just being open-minded and sitting down with Gamera Guardian of the Universe. 90 minutes long. It won't take too much of your time. You may be surprised at how much you enjoy it. It's remarkable how much passion and enthusiasm, care and seriousness can be taken with even something as potentially ridiculed as Gamera. And out the end we have this rather magnificent genre film, I'd go so far. I also have an upload on Gamera 2, which is, I would go so far as to say, it's a superior sequel. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't have the same cinematographic ambition. There are a lot of phenomenal VFX in Gamera 2, Attack of Legion, although I think not as much creative direction. Like some of the camera angles and the way they're filming Gamera and Gauss in the air, the final battle in the city. I don't think anything as ambitious or inventive necessarily occurs in Gamera 2, unless I'm mistaken. Someone's welcome to correct me on that. I'll argue against that. But yeah, nevertheless, I would say I enjoy Gamera 2 overall, in spite of that comment I've just made there. In any case, I do endorse this film and the entire trilogy, obviously. Have a fantastic day, night, wherever you are. I hope you are most well. Thanks again.